My name is Emilio Hernandez. I train out of Spring Hill, Tennessee at Tennessee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. My nickname is Scramble King. I got that from the way I compete. I'm very big about scrambling out of positions and being very mobile when I'm rolling, and a few guys came up with the nickname, and it's pretty much stuck ever since. I started jiu-jitsu back when I was 14, and I had a few different issues when I was younger. I guess more with the anger issues, and I felt like I needed something else to exert my energy, and I felt like jiu-jitsu was one of the biggest things that I needed to try out. I started at a local gym in Columbia, which is probably 30 minutes from where I live now. Started off there for a year and moved here in Spring Hill probably a few months after that. Everybody treated me like they knew me for multiple years. They all welcomed me with open arms, and I felt like I was a part of the family, and slowly kind of started working my way into the gym atmosphere. I was traveling a lot with my main instructor. Ray's very big about our gym becoming a family rather than just becoming a gym where someone comes out and trains.
As I'm walking in, I clear, and then I'm driving with my pressure. I release, 1, 2, there's my tap, and I start to drop my weight back.
And honestly, one of the biggest things that I did find was, we leave our problems at the door whenever you come into the gym. My instructor's name is Ray Casillas. I met him probably about 8 years now. I met him when I was 14, been training under him ever since. He had asked me to start helping him teach, and that's kind of where I started. But it's still open guard, attacks and sweeps. So we'll go, attacks and sweeps, so we'll go from there. All right, now in, go. Right hand goes behind the head, left hand, I want to make sure I grab the back of his tricep here. I do enjoy teaching. I've been doing it for probably about 6+ years now. It has been one of the best things that I could have done. At first I got very nervous, and I've got a lot of great compliments of how I teach, and even to this day I still get nervous when I teach certain things. I've done 3 seminars overall, and each time it's a very great experience. But what I do love about teaching is seeing your students, or seeing the students and your teammates progress, and actually being able to use the techniques that you've shared, or it has changed their game in some type of way. So it's always great to see the progression of your teammates when you're teaching. You have to be very precise with the movements. You have to be very on point with the positioning. So I need this hand, all right, or this grip here to pull down his head to keep his body straight forward, all right? If I did this grip and I went here, I cut my angle, this is what most people do. They keep them flared. It doesn't take much for Matt to come underneath. However, if I came here, Matt, can you do the exact same thing? No. All right, I'm tighter. I'm gonna bring my left knee towards his chest to extend him. Kick over the top. Now I have the arm. Honestly, it helped me really with my jiu-jitsu because it sharpened up my techniques. I had to focus on things that I do, and that I had to show others and what to do. So I was having to make sure that I made certain points or made key points and made sure that they focus on these things, where it's things that upper belts do but they don't realize that we're doing. So we're having to break it down in more detail, whereas in training I come in and I just grab a partner and start getting after it. We just kind of we'll roll hard, but we're still working on technique, but we're not really thinking about it. We're kind of trying to flow through and go with it. And as I switch my feet, my left hand, I don't like to use the pant grip. I like to shoot for underneath the leg. So I'm going to shoot underneath the leg. All right, and if you notice, I'm going to load him up towards me right now. Okay? So my left leg's through, my right leg's behind his back. Then, as I sit up, I'm bringing this elbow back, stretching out, and he's tapping. What I really liked about jiu-jitsu, especially when I first started, of course, everyone enters jiu-jitsu and they always feel like they're not progressing or anything like that. What I did really like about it was I like the fact that there's always a learning aspect to it. Like, you're always going to learn something different, regardless if you learn the same position over and over again. There's always something different. There's always something new. For for some students, that's really great to see is the confidence level I see in some of the younger athletes as well. Some of the students that come in here are very quiet, they're very nervous, and give them a few months and I've seen them grow from being the very nervous kid in the class to the one who's talking the most and who's very interested in answering questions. And we get a lot of great compliments from parents who talk about how their grades have improved. For others, it might help you, build the confidence in just overall yourself, because this is going to test your limits in jiu-jitsu and probably, help you out with your life decisions in the world, outside of here. There's a lot of multiple world champions. I do also get to train with Dustin Ortiz, UFC fighter, and along with Bellator MMA fighter Michael Chandler. So there is a lot of great athletes out here, a lot of great people who have made it out in the world, or they're pretty big name guys, but there are a lot of great people and a lot of great athletes.
Sprawl out and walk out more that way.
Try to cross my feet here, right? I want to try to use both feet rather than just that one. Makes sense. My overall goal in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to become a black belt world champion. It's been one of the ultimate goals I've had since I started training, especially once I got to blue belt. The more time that you put in on the mats and the more time you actually put into your drilling, we see all these other athletes in the world who are putting multiple hours or putting multiple days in. They're getting these, different, 3 different training sessions within one day. They're putting in that effort, or they're putting in the extra work ethic that most people don't want to or think it's too hard. We'll start off with a takedown for today, just because we don't ever do takedowns, so I feel like we should do a takedown. I use Brad. Sarah. Brad, come up. All right, so when I get to this position, I step, boom, I get here. Now when I drive forward, Brad, I'm pulling down, I'm pushing, getting here. All right, now I can start rotating to whatever I like. All right. This is strong. My elbow's in tight and I'm pushing down the whole time. It's almost like if he was standing up regularly and he's touching his toes, I'm using my hand to help him get a good stretch. So honestly, to become a world champion, from what I've seen, is you got to make sure that every time you come in, everything that you're doing is with a purpose and not just moving within the motions. When I get ready to compete, or when I have something coming up, whether it's major or it's not, I always try to focus at when I'm in here at the gym training. I try to make sure that my technique's pretty on point. So I'm drilling a lot of different positions, drilling a lot of different scenarios, and I'm making sure that I put myself in bad positions with my training partners. So I'll start in bad positions, that way I can work out of them, rather than being undominant and playing my A game. It does come back to the fact that I do enjoy the whole learning aspect. Like, there's always something new, there's always something different to learn from the same position. I want to improve myself and become a better person by competing or by training, and it has helped me over the years, whether I'm going through stress, stress with college or stress with work, or just everyday stress that anybody can have. It does help me, and that's what kind of motivates me, because it puts me in a better mindset and a better mood after training each day. If I was going to give any advice, or if I was going to give my own input about why people should train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, honestly, personally for me, it did help, of course, with the anger issues I had as a kid, and I dealt with a few different depression stuff, and honestly, it helped me kind of get in a better state of mind. But it also created this outside family that I can always count on, or that were always there to cheer you up, and you made these bonds and friendships that they're always going to be there to support you regardless of what's going on in the world. The gym is somewhere to be safe and somewhere to kind of get away from everything else. And honestly, I've seen a lot of people that jiu-jitsu has been very helpful for them, whether it's they want to lose weight, or honestly it's saved their life in most cases. I've known a lot of former military guys that personally jiu-jitsu has helped them move on and kind of build off of themselves and become better people. And honestly, I would say give it a try, kind of see how you feel about it, and I hope that it becomes one of those things that helps you like it did me.